Really, you're killing yourself softly, basically. You're doing a Juul, you're killing yourself softly.
Juul was founded by former smokers with the goal of improving the lives of the world's 1 billion adult smokers. They envisioned a world where fewer people use cigarettes, and where people who smoke cigarettes have the tools to reduce or eliminate their consumption entirely. Each pod contains 59 milligrams of nicotine, which is the same amount of nicotine in a pack of cigarettes.
A Juul is like probably the most convenient vape type you can use, and it's also one of the most addictive.
I don't know, I kind of got peer pressured into hitting it the first time, and then I have an addictive personality.
It feels like the world's kind of like coming in a little bit, you know, like you feel kind of like closing in, like it's weird. It's like a buzz, you know, it's like a cig buzz.
It's more of like a mental thing, but it kind of makes you feel kind of warm and fuzzy almost.
The first time I hit a Juul, I loved it. Like, I was obsessed with the way it made me feel, the fact that it was so small, and like, it just felt like something that was missing, which is terrible to say, but...
Vaping, now the it thing for teens.
It's just a part of my life now that, like, I know it's bad, but I can't stop.
Growing trend in our schools. 3 million teenagers, high schoolers, are using vaping products.
To get a whole generation hooked on this is like, makes no sense at all after we're trying to get everyone off cigarettes.
For one, it's a stress reliever, and it calms you down and it helps with anxiety. And those are all things that high schoolers, teens have. So why would they not use something that dampens that?
Whenever I'm in an awkward situation, I feel stressed or something, like my go-to is just to hit a Juul.
But I mean, after you do it for a while, it starts to feel nice, and it's just kind of like a nice, like, you feel calm, you feel less anxious than you were before.
Juuling doesn't make me feel good anymore. And that's something that, like, I don't really admit to myself, because there's this part of me that just wants to keep doing it, but shortly after the initial buzz of it and the hype of Juuling kind of faded away, like, it's an empty habit that doesn't really give me anything.
But even sometimes it's not enjoyable. Like, you get a bad hit and you feel like shit for like 5 minutes, and it's like, why would you do that to yourself? But literally, like, it's this craving thing.
The year that I've been Juuling, I've been sick pretty much the whole entire year.
I have heard it's pretty awful, so it might have some effects on us in the future. We'll see. We'll see what our kids look like, right?
According to the FDA, nicotine actually rewires your brain. Recent studies show that those who get addicted to nicotine at a young age have reduced activity in the prefrontal cortex and perform less well on tasks related to memory and attention compared to people who aren't addicted to nicotine. Nicotine exerts its effects through a chemical pathway that releases dopamine to the body's nervous system. Repeated exposure to nicotine sets up a dependence and withdrawal response. This response is familiar to anyone who has attempted to quit using tobacco products. More and more scientists are demonstrating nicotine's power beyond its addictiveness. Recent studies suggest that nicotine has several cancer-causing and long-term effects, such as gastrointestinal disorder, cardiovascular and respiratory problems, decreased immune response, DNA mutation, can cause tumor proliferation, and the scariest of all, we don't know exactly the outcome of using vapes. Vape and Juuls are still new, and we don't know much about the long-term effects. This is the same thing that happened in the 1920s, when cigarettes were cool, popular, and the new thing. They had no idea the effects it had. Imagine our world tobacco-free and nicotine-free. We would be vastly different.
Because it's the cool thing to do, that's why people are doing it. And it's really sad, because for people who have never touched a substance in their life, who start Juuling, they're way more likely to do other things after that.
Kids do what they see, and if they're seeing everybody puff and smoke and it looks kind of cool and it seems to be harmless, and you're in a fun-making environment or whatever, it's just natural to try it. at least once.
Everybody's doing it. Your friends are doing it. You know, your mama's auntie's doing it. Like, your granddad started doing it. Like, it's like everybody. It's a fad.
It's freaky to see so many kids hooked on this thing. Like, kids that you wouldn't expect to be bad kids, you know? Like, there are good, outstanding kids who are victims to this.
Just because no one's talking about it and it's not being discussed and it's not something, it's like taboo to talk about, that's why there's such an epidemic, because it's not being discussed like casually enough for people to know about it and be aware of it.
So before you put something into your body, stop and educate yourself on that product and know the consequences.